सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Okay. Let's start with 15. Okay, ready? You guys ready? Okay. You ready? Okay. Shri Bhagwanuvaच ऊर्ध्वमूलमधशाखो अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययं छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित् अधश्चोर्ध्वपसुतां तस्य शाखा गुणा प्रवृत्ता विषया प्रवाला आदर्शमूलाननुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके न रूपमस्येत् ततोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यत्र प्रवृत्तिः प्रसुता पुराण निर्माणमोहाचितसङ्गदोष आध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामो द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञे गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदमव्ययं तत् न तद्भासते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम ममेवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतसनातनः मनः षष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यद्वाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयत् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चाय विषयानुपसेवत उत्क्रमन्तं सितं वापि वज्राणां वा गुणान्वितं विबुधानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषा यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मनः यतन्त्योऽप्यकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति चेतसा यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयतेऽखिलं यच्चलमसि यच्चाम्नो तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकं कामवेश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहमोजसा पुष्णानि चौषधी सर्वा सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः Pranapanasmayukta Vachanyamya Chaturvedam Sarvasya Chaham Hridhi Sannivishto Mata Smatirjnanamohanam Cha Vede Cha Sarvahame Vedyo Vedanta Kudveda Cha Dvaimo Purusho Loke Sharaksha Cha Shara Sarvani Bhutani Kutasto Sharavachate Uttamam Purushastvanya Paramatmitudamita Yo Lokatayamavishya Vipartavya Ishvara Yasmat Sharavati Toham Aksharada Pichotama Atosmi Loke Vedecha Pratita Purushottama Yo Mamevam Sammudo Janati Purushottamam Sa Sarva Vidya Jati Mam Sarva Bhavena Bharata Iti Guhyatam Shastram Idam Uttamayanaka Etad Buddha Buddhimamshat Krita Krityasya Bharata Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagwad Gita Su Upanishadsu Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Purushottam Nama Yoga Panchadashodhyaya. Okay guys, let's get back to our chapter 8. So we are studying how should a person should die, right? At the time of death, what should we be doing? So that's what we are studying so far. And we are at slok number, what was the slok number? I actually wrote it down this time so I can remember what slok we were on. So we were doing 21. Am I right? Am I right or am I right?
I think so.
Okay. For a change, I'm right. Okay. So, slok number 21, we talk about that it was that unmanifested which has been as the imperishable is said to be supreme goal, attaining which they return not to mortal world. That is my supreme goal. Yeah, Raja.
We didn't even do 21.
Oh, we didn't do 21, so we were on.
We ended on 20. We might have read 21, I don't remember, but we didn't do the definition of it.
Okay. So let's start from 21.
We might have read it like the next one to go to.
I think we might have read it, but not do the information about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about, let's get back a little bit background of it. So we were talking there is world that get manifested and it goes back into unmanifested, right? So it comes to manifest and it goes back. So with this manifestation and in manifest, both side, there is an unmanifest, I would not want to say thing, but there is an unmanifest that always stays, right? It's always there, whether the world is manifested or not. So something that is always there, that's what we talk about, is Brahman, that is always there. So Brahman is there all the time. And then when the world is manifest, power of Brahman, Maya comes in place, right? So Maya comes in place and then manifestation happens. But the power of Brahman, Maya is the power of Brahman. There are many stories, to explain Maya is very difficult, right? So, but there are many stories out there that explains Maya. One of the famous story in our scripture is one time Narad and Vishnu were going and walking around the earth, and they say, Naradji says, hey, tell me about this Maya thing. What is this Maya? I want to know Maya. And he said, no, you will not understand. It's too complicated, this and that. But then being Narad, he pushes so much that no, you have to make me understand what is Maya. I want to know what is Maya. So then The Vishnuji says, okay, that's fine, I will make you understand, but before that, can you get me a glass of water? So he said, okay, I will go get you a glass of water. And he said, the village is very close by, so go get me a glass of water and then I will explain you the entire Maya. So he went there to get a glass of water. He went to a well where a lot of village women were, pulling the water out of the well. So he stood there and he saw a girl who was very beautiful and he fell in love with this girl. So then he went to he said, I really like you and I want to marry you. And then he said, I want to go to your parents and ask your hand. So the girl take him to her house. So they get married. They get kids. Long story short. And then strong the flood comes. Like there was too much rain going on and the flood comes. And the flood comes and the whole village is getting swiped off with the flood. So Narad, who had a wife now and 2 kids, he was trying to rescue them. So one kid was on his shoulder, one kid was on other shoulder, the wife was in the hand, and they were rushing out of that flood as soon as possible. And then in few minutes he saw that his wife is gone. Then he saw his kids are being swept away with that flood. So everything is gone, and then he fall down on the floor and he start crying a lot because all his family is gone. So he cried. He started crying a lot, and then a voice comes and say, where is my water? So Narad got up and saw that Vishnu Bhagwan is standing in front of him, and he looked around and there is nothing. And the whole thing is gone. So Vishnu Bhagwan says, where is my water? And you went like 30 minutes ago and you are not there yet. You didn't come back yet. And then Narad said, no, I went many years ago. And he said, no, you just went 30 minutes ago and I'm still waiting for my water. And he said, then what happened to that whole, my family and my kids and everybody? And he said, that's the Maya. So he make him understand Maya by the experimenting, saying that this is the Maya where you fall into it, you find the whole entire world around you, and then you lived in that Maya, and then Maya goes off and the world crashes. So that's what here Maya is. Like they try to explain in a simpler way how the Maya is, but for us, this is our world, right? This is whole our world is. We live in this. We cannot say that this is Maya and it will go away, right? We have to, you guys have to go to school, you guys have to earn money, or you guys have to live in this Maya. We have to build the relationship and everything. So we live in Maya, right? That's manifestation of the world, right? When it's gone, nothing is there. So, but then the unmanifest still stays there. So the consciousness is always there. Now, always we think about consciousness. Consciousness is not like something in a bowl, like, a fruit's in the bowl. We cannot say consciousness is a fruit in the bowl, right? It's not, consciousness in the world is inside the world. There is a world and there is a consciousness inside. No, it's in through everything, right? It's in through everything. It's the existence. The first of all, it's the existence. So anything that's in existence is consciousness, right? Then anything that is experienced is consciousness. So if we experience anything, that's the consciousness, right? So Sat, Chit, Anand. So then what bliss we get, that's consciousness. So that's why consciousness is Sat, Chit, Anand. Sat is the existence, the experience, and Anand. So that's the consciousness, that's unmanifest, right? And then in power of Maya, when he gets the power of Maya, or not he gets, when he uses his power of Maya, then everything comes in place, right? So the world is created. So when he says there is unmanifest and manifest and unmanifest, that's just a utilization of power of Maya. It comes, it goes away. So when we take like million of years are there, when the universe comes and then Mahapralaya comes, then universe comes again. So those things this is what he is trying to explain here, right? And it matches the scientific data, because it says that 4 million years ago the universe was born. That's what science also says, and same thing matches with our information here when we say there are like 4 yugas, and then all these yugas will, the Kali Yuga, we are in Kali Yuga right now, and then it Mahapralay comes, everything goes, washes off, and then again the universe is born and manifested, right? Okay, so how about quickly we read? I already explained you a lot of things out of verse 21, but let's read one more time and then move on to the 22nd. Nanu, you want to take this one?
Sure. Avyaktoshar ityukta
Avyaktoshkar ityukta
tam ahu paramam gatim
tvam ahu paramam gatim
yam prapya na nivartante
na nivartante
tadama paramam mama.
tadamam paramam mama. So can you do the meaning?
Together?
Sorry, yeah, I forgot. Avyaktakshara ityukta tahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadamam paramam mama.
Avyakta, unmanifested, akshara, infallible. The iti, thus, ukta is said, tam, that, ahu is known, paramam, the ultimate, gatim, destination, yam, which, prapya, gaining, na, never, nivartante, come back, that, dhamma, abode, paramam, supreme, mama, my.
Okay, so that person comes to the supreme my abode, where this one is the person who is not returning to the world, who understands that the unmanifested Brahman, which has been as the imperishable, is said to be a supreme goal. So before shlok we talk about what is the supreme goal. So this should be our supreme goal, that to understand or to go in abode of this supreme Brahman that we are talking about, right? So I actually put a note here. So these people who reach there, they never come back, right? So that's what he's saying now. That is attaining which they never return, not to this mortal world. Mortal world is the earth and all the other world, the 7 world on the bottom of the earth, and then 6 on the top, 6 on the bottom, and 6, so 14 worlds, right? So out of these 14 worlds, one Brahmaloka, the top one, is immortal. All the other are mortal worlds. So they keep coming. If you go in any of these worlds, you keep coming and going back, right? It's a return ticket. It's not a one-way ticket. Only to Brahmaloka is one-way ticket, and we will get to know in future shloks. So how do you do that? How do you get to understand this manifestation and unmanifestation of the world, right? So then next shlok he explains that. Okay, so can we do 22nd, Krish Raja?
Purusha sapara partha.
Purusha sapara partha. Nanu?
Bhaktya labhyastvananyaya.
Bhaktya labhyastvanvaya.
Yasyantastani bhutani.
Yasyantastani bhutani.
Yena sarvamidam tatam.
Yena sarvam idam tatam. Together? Purusha Saparapārtha Bhaktya Labhyasya Venaya Yasyantasthani Bhutani Yena Sarvam Idam Tatam. Okay, here he says, can you do the meaning first?
Purusha, the Supreme Personality, Shah, he, Par, the Supreme, that, then whom is no greater, Partha, O son of Partha, Bhakti, by devotional service, Labhya, can be achieved, Tu, but, Ananyaya,
Nothing.
Unalloyed, undeviated, Yasya, whom, Antasthani, within Bhutani, all this material manifestation, Yena, by whom, Sarvam, all, Idam, whatever we can see, Tatam is pervaded.
Is pervaded. Okay. So he says, Arjuna, that eternal, unmanifest, supreme Purusha, in whom all the being resides, and by whom all these is pervaded, is attainable only through exclusive devotion. Right? Only through devotion, nothing else. Ananya, nothing else. You cannot do anything else. It's only through devotion you get to the point where you understand this whole entire deeds of, or entire understanding of Brahman, and understanding of how universe is, what it is, what is consciousness. All these understanding can come only through devotion. Now he talks about here that we know that these chapters are for Saguna Bhagwan, and we are talking about devotion and everything. But with Advait, devotion is more talking about Dvait of the philosophy of Dvait, because there is a God, there is a Saguna Bhagwan, and we are separate, and this God, we pray the God and we worship him, and that's Dvait, right? And Shankaracharya, being Advait, he also mentioned this devotion is always, you are devoted to somebody which is separate than you, right? So, but Shankaracharya here also, devotion, he brings it that devotion means knowing Brahman, like the knowledge. So he brings everything to the knowledge part of it, right? Because of his philosophy. But here it says that the basic fundamental, when it says Ananya, he said there is nothing else other than devotion, right? Here we can understand that how important the devotion is. Even in knowledge, the devotion is important, right? Because what happens is, without devotion to knowledge, or without devotion to anything, you are not able to achieve. So until you don't devote yourself to something, then so in this say, if you want to reach there, the only path is unwavering devotion, right? So there are many things that you can achieve with dhyan, and you can achieve with meditation, or you can achieve, but then devotion is also, meditation is also devotion, right? The knowledge is also devotion. The bhakti that we do is also devotion. Here the devotion is all depending on what path you take. It's not that devotion on Saguna Bhagwan only. Devotion on Saguna Bhagwan is the best, but again, if you are devoted to any of these paths, it's good to go that. Even if you are devoted to knowledge, even if you are devoted to any of these paths, that's the devotion Bhagwan is saying. So, one without anything else, right? He says Ananya means there is only one thing, nothing else, that this whole world is in this consciousness. When he talks about that, then it means that this is only, like, everything is pervading in it, right? Everything, the consciousness is pervaded in every single thing. When you get to know, when we talk about that, Shankaracharya says that Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, means Brahman is only the truth, all this world is mithya, means false. But when we say that, we have to understand why he said that. It's not that, okay, you say this world is false and leave it, right? This world is nothing, it's false. That's not the meaning of it. It is Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. If we say Jagat Mithya, then we would not be, then we are actually negating consciousness from the world. But it's not like that, because everything is consciousness. We cannot say the Jagat is false in the sense of we understand, right? We cannot say, oh, Jagat is false or this world is false. Why? Because everything is pervaded by this consciousness. So if you make this fall, then where is the consciousness? Consciousness is not something else or something outside or something other place. It's in the Jagat. So he's saying that the consciousness is true, right? Satya. Jagat is mithya, means all these forms and all these things are false because it's not permanent, right? He talks about impermanency on those ones, right? It's a power of Maya that we have this form, names and everything. But if we don't have this, if we look at the base, then consciousness is there. So it's not that he's saying this world is mithya, means it's false, the world is not there and there is a consciousness somewhere else that's truth. It's not. It's pervaded in everybody, right? In everything. So that's what it is. Did I miss anything here before we move on to the next one? I actually put points in the pencil. I cannot even read them now.
Wait, sorry.
Yeah, Raju.
Wait, at the end you're like, it's pervaded in all?
Yeah.
But, wait, so like, is the Shok saying that the consciousness is in all, or is all in consciousness?
Okay, that's the question, is it? Like, we had a big discussion on that one, you remember? Couple classes, not in this chapter itself. Like, is it all is in consciousness or consciousness is in all, right? There are two ways to see it. It's nothing, no other than consciousness, right? So all would be in consciousness, right? Rather than, so when you say everybody has consciousness, right? So then it becomes like everything is like it's, you cannot say that there is a bowl and full of fruits. All the fruits are, everything is consciousness, then those the fruits have consciousness in that. But the bowl, then you separate the bowl, right? But we cannot, in this case, we cannot even separate the bowl, because bowl is in consciousness too, right? So the universe and all things, so it's all in consciousness rather than consciousness in all. Right? That's a big difference. Otherwise, what happens is there is something that you're going to leave away. Right? So it's consciousness. Everything is in consciousness rather than everything is consciousness. Right? You get the point? So there is a difference between that. All pervading consciousness is in all, which is a very basic field for us to understand. But all in consciousness, that's the bigger thing we need to understand. Got it? Okay, and then I was thinking, like, this is the way when we say how to do it in this world, because we are in this world, right? We have mother, father, we have brother, sister, friends, we have this Jagat to live. But when you start looking at it as everybody is same and has like in the consciousness, then what happens is that love, you can, devotion and love, what he's saying, that it's only achieved by devotion. We can make it as a love, as bhakti, right? So everybody, then it becomes that everybody is that we love. When we start seeing whom we love as a consciousness, as a God, as a, either we can say that it's a Saguna Bhagwan, or everybody has Bhagwan, or consciousness is Bhagwan, and then we can start God, then we can start seeing everything through that eye. Then that's the devotion he's talking about, right? So if I see something that's really good, even like simple things, if we eat cookie, right, and we say that, oh, the cookie is so good, but if the if we start thinking that God gave this cookie to me and I'm tasting it, or God gave me the tongue or the place to put and have that happiness from eating this cookie, that becomes devotion, right? That becomes that we are understanding that everything is a consciousness. Anything you say that, oh, they built this AI thing, right? Oh, this guy is so smart, he built the AI thing. But who gave the brain to him, right? Who gave this thing, intellectual, he could have put it, understand. There is nothing that is invented. It's always there, somebody discovers it, right? It's more in the world is discovery. It's always there. Things are always there in this world. People put it together and discover things, right? So think about it, that how we think about that, this person invented this. Electricity was there. They had to put things together. All the material is always there. Anything is bringing any material from anywhere else? Nothing, right? Everything is already existing in the world. What we do is we put together. But that also, the brain, the mind, does Elon Musk made the mind like brain? He did not, right? He came with it, right? So who gave him the brain? Who gave him the mind? Who gave him the quality of utilizing it? Everybody, right? So God gave everybody everything. We just utilize his tools to live this life, right? So everything is pervaded, or all consciousness in all, or all in consciousness. So all in consciousness is the right term to use here, because everything is in consciousness, everything is out there. It just that we utilize the things, the tools from Maya, power of Maya, we utilize the tools and we live this life, right? So what he is talking about, devotion can be achieved by, even if we talk about little bit devotion here in the world, in our world, not in spiritual world, then the devotion is the love that we can see, do things. When we look at anything, like if you look at beautiful scene or beautiful places, it is always, there is God in it, right? If we talk about other person whom we love, they say that if we start looking at a love as a human connection, I love this person because it's this person is really good, and I like this person. But then unless you don't take that love to the spiritual level, that hey, God, I love this person because God made this person, or everything behind this is God, that love becomes more of devotion rather than just bare love. That love, with just knowing the person, it stays as, it can be break anytime. But when the love is devotional, then it cannot be broken. It cannot be broken, right? So that's how the devotion here stands for, right? So now what are the pathways, right? He explains some pathways here. Which pathway to take, which pathway is being taken after the death, when after the death, to whatever loka we go to, whatever land we go to, what is the pathway? So he explained in next two slokas what are the pathway that is being taken, right? So let's read the other next two slokas to understand what are the pathway. Just to let you know that there are some things that the words are there are some symbolic meaning of these words. They are not exactly the same what the word says. So listen carefully, those are you might be understanding, because this I looked in a lot of different lectures to figure this out, but these words are symbolic words used for something else to explain. It doesn't have the literal meaning on it. So let's do the slok number 23rd. You want to do, Alia, you want to do that right now? The 23rd?
Sure. Yatra kale tav anvritam.
Yatra kale tvavanvrittam
Avritam chave yogina.
avrittam cheva yogina
Prayatayanti tam
kalam
Prayatayanti tam kalam.
prayatayanti tam kalam
Vakshyami Bharatarsabha.
Vrakshyami Bharatarshava Yatra kale tvanavrittim avrittim cheva yogina prayatayanti tam kalam Rakshami Bharatarshava. Meaning that?
Yatra, at which kale time do and anavrittim, no returns. Avrittim, return. Cha, also eva, certainly. Yogina, different kinds of mystics. Prayata, having departed. Yanti, attain. Tam, that. Kalam, time. Vyakshami, I shall describe. Bharatarshabha, O best of the Bharata.
Bharata. Good. Okay. So here he is saying Arjuna, which is Bharata. I shall now tell you the time, the path. He is talking about time, but time is path. He is talking about what path. It's not the time. Departing when yogis do not return, and also the time, which is the path. Departing when they do return. So he is going to be explaining us two paths. One is when yogi don't return, so there is no return ticket, and the path when we return back to this mortal world. So what path we take, we don't return, and what path we take, we return. Now keep in mind that he is talking about people who are there are four kind of people. One are enlightened, right? One are people who are on spiritual path in this world. They are not looking for worldly pleasure or anything, but they are worshipping God to understand God and get to the level where they can understand this whole universe and God and everything. So that's spiritual path, right? Then there are people who do a lot of ritual. They pray God, they pray they do the prayers, they do worship, but they are doing it for some material gain. Like, we live here, some material, I be happy, my family is happy, my life gets no hustle, I'm living a good life here. So that kind of person. And then the fourth one are people who are unethical. They don't do any religious thing, they are not ritually, they just don't believe in God, right? So those four kind of different things. So here God is only talking about people that are in the middle, the two people that are in the middle. He's not talking about an enlightened person. So enlightened person coming or going doesn't make any sense. They are not going anywhere, they are not coming from anywhere. So enlightened people, it doesn't matter to him. He's not talking about the people who are really unethical, selfish, they just want to do their own thing. So he's not talking about that either. So he's talking about these two, and we fall into these two too. So he's talking about us here, right? So we fall into people who are on the spiritual path and want to know everything and are curious, are jignasu. So those people, and then people who are following all these rituals, they do prayer every morning, they go to the temple, but they are asking for their own peace, their family peace, their all these worldly materials. So he's talking about these two. So now he's going to talk about these two paths, which he says time, but it's path. Where we go, one is non-returnable, one is returnable. So let's talk about the other two shloka. One shloka he's talking about the returning, and one shloka he's talking about non-returning. So let's go to the shloka number 24. Krisha, you want to take? Probably you might leave then early though.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Raja.
Okay. Oh, 24, right?
Yes.
Okay. Agnir Jyotirah Shukla
Agnir Jyotirtira Shukla
Sanmasa Uttarayanam
Sanmasa Uttarayanam
Tatra Prayata Gachanti
Tatra Prayata Gachanti
Brahma Brahma Vido Jana.
Brahma Brahma Vido Jana. All together. Agnir Jyotirah Shukla
Sanmasa
Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vido Jana. You want to say?
Agni, fire, Jyoti, light, Aha, day, Shukla, the white fortnight, Sat Masa, the 6th month, Uttarayanam, when the sun passes on the northern side, Tatra, there, Prayata, those who pass away, Gachanti, go, Brahma, to the absolute, Brahma Vida, who know the absolute, Jana, person.
Okay. Jana persons.
Jana.
Okay. Okay, so he says, of the two paths, the one is that in which are stationed the all-influent fire god and the desire and the deity proceeding over daylight, the bright fortnight and the 6 months of the northward course of the sun respectively, proceeding along age after death yogis who have known Brahman, being successively led by the above god, finally reach Brahman. Okay. So there are two paths he is explaining. One path is the bright path and one path is the dark path, right? The white path, so Brahmaloka in different religion, it's been said different name, like, if it's in Hinduism also, people who believe in Krishna say Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha is Brahmaloka. For people who believe in Shiva, they say Kailash is Brahmaloka. People who go to worship Devi, they say Shaktas. All the Shaktas, they say Devi Loka. So and Christian says, the heaven, and the Islam people say Jannat. All these are the Brahmaloka, which is the top one, right? The big H for heaven, not the small one. So all these lokas are there, that we are saying that that's where is non-return ticket. All the other loka, all the other 5 lokas or bottom 6 lokas, if we go there, it's a return ticket, right? So now in this he talks about Agni. Agni is not the fire, that basic meaning is fire, but this is not fire. It's saying the deity of fire, the deity of fire. So in this it's been said, and these words are coming from Vedas, which Krishna is taking a lot of knowledge from Vedas and putting into it. So there are many Vedas that explain these meanings. So when we read it, it sounds, if we take literal meaning, it sounds that people who die in the northern months, when the sun is, sun comes out of east, and but in 6 months it goes from northeast, right? It rises from northeast. It shifted towards north a little bit, and the other 6 months it shifted towards south. So we said it's south born, southeast sun is coming out, so it shifts a little bit here and there, right? So 6 months north side, 6 months south side. So if we take just the literal meaning, Uttarayan is towards north side of the sun, east side of the sun, when the sun is rising from there. But in this shloka, God is trying to explain the deities of these. So everybody is responsible for something, all these deities, right? The deity that is responsible for Agni, if he comes, so when you die, there are, the near death experience, a lot of people have explained near death experience, and they always explain one thing is common, that a bright light comes and then they take you somewhere and then they take you somewhere else. That's how, a lot of people have explained. In this also it says that all these deity, so deity of fire comes and take you, right? Then they take, so all these deity who are the fire god, the deity of the daylight, so the deity that is responsible for daylight, that deity, then the bright fortnight deity, and the deity that is responsible for northward course of sun, those deity comes and take you to the brighter path, and you go to the Brahmaloka, where you cannot return back. Right? You got it? So that's the path that one person goes where there is no return. But this path is only taken by the people who are knowing of Brahman. Right? Not just anybody. People who know Brahman, you didn't get the enlightenment in this life. Let's say the person who is so devoted all his life, he got into this to know Brahman, to read all these scriptures, to try to figure it out what it is. So you are at that point, but you didn't get the enlightenment this life, but you are at the point where you are understanding, trying to understand, you are on that path. That person, after death, all these deities come and take this person to the brighter path, and they go to Brahmaloka, where the remaining study or whatever is you are missing in your enlightenment, you do it Brahmaloka, and then you don't return back to this mortal world, right? So this is the bright path, right? That's what Krishna Bhagavan is explaining. So you go to these paths. These are people who are ethical, who are either on the knowledge path, on the devotion part, but they are devoted to know. They are jignasu, they are trying to know, they are trying to understand the God. They are on that path. They are not asking for any worldly things. So those people go on this brighter path. Got it? So that's the one path. But basic foundation to go to that path is you have to have devotion, or you have to have a thrust of knowledge, or you have to be doing meditation, or you are doing something that you are practicing some things to reach out to God or to know God. So those people go on this brighter path, right? Then let's do the next sloka to understand what is the other path, the second path. Raja, you want to take Alia?
Sure.
25th. No, sorry, 24th. Go ahead, 25th.
Ratris Krishna.
Bhumoratris tata Krishna.
Sanmasa Dakshinayanam.
Shanmasa Dakshinam Yadam.
Tatra Chandramasam Jyotir.
Tatra Chandramasam Jyotir.
Yogi Prapya Nivartate.
Yogi Prapya Nivartate. Bhumoratras tatha Krishna. Shanmasa Dakshinayanam. Tatra Chandramasam Jyotir. Yogi Prapya Nivartate.
Duma smoke Ratri night Tata, also Krishna the fortnight of the dark moon, Satmasa the 6 months, Dakshinayanam when the sun passes on the southern side, Tatra there, Chandramasam the moon planet, Jyoti the light, Yogi the mystic, Prapya achieving, Nivartate comes back.
Okay. So now here he says the other path is that wherein are stationed the god presiding over smoke, night, dark fortnight, and the 6th month of southward course of the sun. The yogi, the devotion to action with the interest of motive, taken to this path after the death, is led by the above god, one after another, and attaining the lustre of the moon, which is enjoy the fruits of the heaven and everything, return to this mortal world. Okay, so now this path, the people return to the mortal world after enjoying everything on the path. So these all God, one by another. And God, what deity are they? They are smoke, night, dark, fortnight, the 6th month when the sun is southward, that deity, all these deity. And where it says Krishna here is not God he is obtaining. Krishna is dark. The word Krishna here means dark, right? So Krishna is dark because he is blue, right? So Krishna name also came from that dark color, blue color skin, right? So here Krishna is the dark. So all these gods, one after another. God means small g. I'm not talking about the big G God. Small deities, all these angels, they come and they take you one after another to that path, which is known as dark path. And here you go to the different world, but then you return back. So after all the good karmas are done, these people are who are doing all these worship and pujas and doing all these things, depending on asking something back, right? So when we are asking something back from the God, these worldly things, not the spiritual thing, this is the path we take, right? We are taking after the death. So after the death, these deity comes, they pass our soul to different places, to different people, and we go to that place. Could be like all these other tapaloka and other lokas that we talk about. And then after the good karmas are expired, we come back to the mortal world. So that's how these two paths goes. Now this is only about the two people that I'm talking about, right? So you take a flight, you sit in an economy class or first class or whatever. So these people sit in economy or first class or business class, but they have a return ticket. So they come back to earth, to this mortal land. Or some people who have done really bad things, he is not talking about those two people here. He is talking about the people who really did some kind of worship, some kind of spiritual path. So if you are higher in spiritual path, you go to the brighter path. If you are lower in spiritual path and you are asking for more of worldly things, then you are in the dark path of this. Nanu, what was your question?
Nothing. I was just thinking this is auspicious time and an auspicious moment of the day and the 6 months. I'm how do you do all that? But then Krishna later says don't worry, if you're a devotee, you won't be scared of it.
Yeah, but there are different, what you have is, it's a different book, right? So it is more explaining about, it's more about bhakti, right? It's about faith. Your book is more about faith. So it always take a literal meaning of it, right? Here, in when I am explaining it's more about Advaitic rule. So then if you go with that, then if you take the literal meaning, people who die when the northern sun is there, it's auspicious, you will go to the brighter side. And people who die when it's southward sun, means it's not, you will come back to the mortal land, right? But that's not the truth, because so that's why it's very important to understand that these are the responsible deity to take you rather than those days. Right? If you think about those days, then everybody who dies from January 14th to May or whatever the month, 6 months, June 14th, they are all go to the brighter side. Right? That's not the right thing. Right? Whoever die from June 14th to December 14th or January 14th, they go in the darker side. That's not the case. So he's clearly making understand that devas of these responsibility people, they come and they take you, right? So, and a lot of what I was saying, that near death experience, people say that the bright light comes and take you, right? They take you from this to, then you travel to different places and this and that. So it just coincides with the concept of these things, that somebody comes and take you and they pass it on to the next world, they pass it on to the next world. So you go to different world. But here is this most sincere thing that we need to think about it, that we want to be ready to go to that brighter path, right? Even if you go to the darker path, it's no problem. You're going to come back and probably you will start your spiritual journey again, right? So it's what it is, like every new day, that's kind of every new birth is. You come as a new birth and you start your spiritual journey where you end it in the last birth, right? So none of them is to be worried about that which day or which time we die, because if you make that specific, then probably that doesn't coincide with this thing. A lot of people, like, die in a big rishi people, like, people die in southern world, like southward sun when it was there. It doesn't make sense if you take the literal meaning to it, right? So the deity responsible for those takes you there, and both paths are good, right? It's nothing, at least both paths we are not the fourth person, right? At least that satisfaction is there, that we are not the person who is unethical, did the bad thing, really had to go and suffer again, right? Okay, let's close it. It's time, right? Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kaushachano Ramanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatguru Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Krishna Paramastu.